Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic, I'm going to talk about paranoia and delusional disorders. Now, over the weekend, I went in depth when I talked about schizophrenia. Now, under schizophrenia, you will find paranoia and delusional disorders. Because if you look at all mental and psychological disorders, many of them are related and connected in one form or another. But when we talk about paranoia, basically paranoia involves intense, anxious, or fearful feelings and thoughts often related to persecution, threat, or conspiracy. Now, paranoia occurs in many mental disorders, but is often present in psychotic disorders. Paranoia can become delusions when rational thoughts and beliefs become so fixed that nothing, and that includes empirical data and contrary evidence, can convince a person that what they think or feel is not true. When a person has paranoia or delusions, but no other symptoms like hearing or seeing things that aren't really there, that's known as hallucination, they might have what is called a delusional disorder because only thoughts are impacted. A person with a delusional disorder can usually work and function in everyday life. However, their lives may be limited and isolated. Now, when it comes to symptoms of paranoia and delusionals or delusional disorders include intense and irrational mistrust or suspicion, which can bring on a sense of fear, anger, and betrayal. Some identifiable beliefs and behaviors of individuals with symptoms of paranoia include mistrust, hypervigilance, difficulty with forgiveness, defensive attitude in response to imagined criticism, preoccupation with hidden motives, fear of being deceived or taken advantage of. They have an inability to relax and are very argumentative. Now, what causes paranoia? Well, basically, the cause of paranoia is a breakdown of various mental and emotional functions involving reasoning and assigned meanings. The reasons for these breakdowns are varied and uncertain. Now, some symptoms of paranoia relate to repressed, denied, or projected feelings. Often paranoid thoughts and feelings are related to events and relationships in a person's life, and thereby increasing isolation and difficulty with getting help. Now, when we talk about delusion, basically delusion and paranoia are related, but they have some different meanings. When a person is delusional, they have an odd belief. That's right. Delusion is an odd belief. So when it comes to delusion, a delusion is an odd belief that a person firmly insists that it is true despite evidence that is or isn't. Cultural beliefs that seem very odd, but are widely accepted, but they don't fit the criteria for being a delusion. Two of the most common types of delusions are delusions of grandeur and persecutory delusions. That's right, the delusions of grandeur and persecutory delusions. Now, what is a delusional disorder? Well, delusional disorder is basically characterized by irrational and intense beliefs or suspicions on which a person believes to be true. These beliefs may seem outlandish and impossible, or we could say bizarre, or fit within the realm of what is possible, which is non-bizarre. Symptoms must last for at least 1 month or longer in order for somebody to be diagnosed with delusional disorder. Now, just like any other mental illness, you can cure paranoia and delusions. Basically, the treatment of paranoia is usually via medication and CBT. And you've heard CBT before. That's known as cognitive behavioral therapy. The most important element in treating paranoia and delusional disorders is building a trusting and collaborative relationship to reduce the impact of rational, fearful thoughts and improving social skills. It can be difficult to treat a person with paranoia since symptoms result in increased irritability, emotional guardedness, and possible hostility. Now, oftentimes, progress on paranoid delusions and especially delusional disorder is very slow, regardless of how slow the process is. Recovery and reconnection is very possible. Now, when I talk about schizophrenia, this is exactly what I mean that goes parallel or under schizophrenia. Individuals who are delusional, they tend to be more hard-headed, argumentative, very difficult to socialize with, irrational, they're caught up in their emotions. These are individuals that you don't want to be around. Why? Because you're not going to be able to talk to them. They lack social skills. Now, some of it is narcissism. And you'll hear narcissism come into every aspect of psychological issues and even some mental issues, because there are a number of self-absorbed people, and individuals who are delusional tend to be self-absorbed. You can't tell them anything. This is why these types of individuals cannot function in relationships. They can't function in society. Not that they can't turn it around, but they refuse help. And I'm not going to put this on any one community because it's all over American society. If you look at some of the liberals out there, they're caught up in their feelings. You look at some women and some men, regardless of race, they get caught up in their feelings. In fact, Americans as a society, we're reaching too much for our feelings instead of looking at what's true. And this is where we live in the land of delusion. We actually believe something is there when it isn't. That's a problem. And it makes socializing in any environment very difficult, even at work. You ever talk to somebody and you thought that they were very stubborn? Might not be that they're stubborn. Might be that they live in a delusional world under schizophrenia. Now, when I talk about schizophrenia, delusions and paranoia, that's a big part of schizophrenia. It's a component. So the next time you try to have a conversation with somebody and you can't get through to them, remind them that they could have paranoia and delusions. Now, granted, some of these mental and psychological disorders are genetic. Post-traumatic stress disorder could also be part of delusion and paranoia. Something may have happened to the person in the past and they want to guard their feelings, particularly in relationships. A number of us do that. But the problem is we hold that guard up against everybody. And when you go through life mistrusting people, you get nowhere. Well, what I'm trying to point out to everyone is that when a problem occurs, you got to seek help, particularly when individuals are children, because the number of children go through many stresses that we're unaware of, and even adolescents and young adults. So first order of business, one must understand this. When it comes to paranoia and delusion, you have two options. Number one, the person who has paranoia and delusions, you can try to get them help, and if they refuse help, there's nothing you can do. You can try to talk to them. If you can't, these are the individuals that may wake up one day and they may not. But the best thing you could do for anybody with paranoia and delusions is get them counseling. Try to improve social skills, because this is what this disorder really revolves around. And I can tell you that the big one is relationships. This is why you hear the word argumentative, irrationality, very emotional. It's because individuals in relationships who have this disorder, I guarantee you, they've been done wrong. And this is why it's very difficult to have any type of conversation, because they're not going to trust you, because the trust was broken in the past. And I've always said as well, what happens in your past can determine your future. So the best thing I will say, be smart and seek help. Because in the end, you're hurting nobody but yourself. And isolation and loneliness is exactly what it means. It's a lonely road. It's cold out there. And when you don't have any support, you're going to get depressed. And what does depression lead to? Anxiety disorders, stress, eating disorders. So if you have paranoia and delusional disorders, be smart. Seek help. Remember, you only live once. Make the best of your life. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Tuesday, May 16th, 2017. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube, so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now on this channel, I don't engage in controversy, debates, or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama and unnecessary bickering. Why? Because it's counterproductive. My channel is for educational purposes only. And what I do is give you information that I've researched, and I utilize my own personal experiences so individuals, particularly the younger folk, won't make the same mistakes that I made. So I'm giving you application and reality from a positive perspective. So my suggestion to you is take some of this information. It'll help you survive and the challenges of the real world, because the real world is very challenging. You will get frustrated and stressed out if you don't understand how the real world works. That's why I tell people to come by my channel, because you will get the teaching that you need. to help you not struggle. Because knowledge is power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521 at gmail.com. That's lej6521 at gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other. Have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.